Welcome to Zoe Stories. My mom's friend made me her daughter for a day. Now I'm her forever. I never thought a single weekend could unravel everything I knew about myself. My name is Ryan. I'm 24, quiet by nature, work in IT support, and live with my girlfriend Emma in a modest two-bedroom apartment in the suburbs. On the outside, everything about me screams average guy. I dress in jeans and hoodies, keep my hair short, and spend most nights playing games or fixing clients' laptops remotely. Nothing remarkable, but I have a secret. Since I was a teenager, I've felt an inexplicable pull toward femininity. Not in a loud or flamboyant way. I never wanted to make a spectacle of myself. But whenever I was alone, especially during the quieter months when my mom would travel for work, I'd sneak into her room. Her closet was a world of softness and mystery. Her dresses, silky blouses, and even her perfume felt like they whispered something to a part of me I didn't understand but deeply craved. Of course, I never told anyone. Not even Emma. Emma and I met in college. She was confident, sharp-witted, and had this electric energy that made you feel alive just being near her. I was the opposite, reserved, cautious. She liked that about me, said I kept her grounded. Over time, we moved in together and built a simple, comfortable life. But beneath it all, I carried this secret like a ticking time bomb. I sometimes wondered if she'd still love me if she knew. Would she laugh? Leave? Or worse, pity me? That question haunted me. So I kept quiet. Then came the day everything changed. It was a Friday morning. Emma was leaving for a weekend work retreat. A luxury spa thing her company was treating their top marketing team to. She kissed me on the cheek, her hair wrapped in a towel, and teased, "Try not to miss me too much. And don't burn the apartment down." "Promise." I laughed, watching her throw her suitcase in the trunk. As she drove away, I felt a strange excitement bubbling up. It wasn't just about having the place to myself. It was the rare, delicious possibility of freedom. 3 days. Alone. For once, maybe I could just be. After tidying up the kitchen and answering a few work emails, I walked into the second bedroom. It was technically the guest room, but we used it for storage. And in the corner stood a large cedar chest, one Emma's mom had passed down. Inside were old costumes, winter coats, and clothes Emma didn't wear anymore. My heart thudded as I knelt and opened the chest. Right on top was a flowing lilac sundress I remembered Emma wearing on our trip to Florida. It was soft, feminine, and my hands trembled, absolutely perfect. I checked my phone. Still early. Plenty of time. I wasn't thinking. Or maybe I was too much. The moment the fabric touched my skin, something in me unlocked. I stepped in, zipped it up, and looked in the mirror. The man staring back had softened, shoulders rounded, posture relaxed. I wasn't Ryan right then. Not entirely. I added a touch of lipstick from Emma's drawer, barely a dab, and a light blush. I tried on a pair of her sandals, then took a shaky breath. My reflection smiled back at me. For the first time in weeks, I felt right. But my peaceful fantasy didn't last long. A knock at the door shattered the silence. Panic struck me like lightning. I scrambled to take off the sandals, dashed into the guest room, and threw on an old hoodie. My heart pounded in my ears as I crept to the door, praying it was just a package. But it wasn't. Standing outside, with sunglasses perched on her nose and a shopping bag in hand, was Linda, my mom's best friend. I hadn't seen her in years, not since I was 18. But she hadn't changed. Tall, elegant, with that air of command she always carried. She pulled down her glasses and smiled. "Ryan, look at you. All grown up." "Linda? Hi. I was just in the neighborhood. Your mom said you lived nearby. I thought I'd drop by and surprise you." I stood frozen. Underneath my hoodie, the dress clung to my body like a secret that refused to stay hidden. Linda's eyes flicked down, just for a second, too fast to be certain, but long enough to make me sweat. She stepped inside without waiting for permission, like she always used to. "I brought you something. Little care package from your mom. She says you've been working too hard." "Thanks. That's nice of her." I offer her tea, my hand still trembling, trying not to move too much. Linda looked around the apartment, her eyes sharp. She was the type who noticed everything. Her gaze lingered on the lipstick-stained tissue on the counter. "Girlfriend home?" she asked.
No.
"She's away for the weekend." She didn't say anything else, just smiled and nodded. But in her expression, I saw something unsettling.
Curiosity.
Amusement. And maybe recognition? Before she left, she turned to me and said, "You've always been different, Ryan.
That's not a bad thing.
Call me if you ever want to talk." Then she was gone. I stood in the hallway, frozen. My heart thumped like a war drum. Had she seen through me? And if she had, what was she planning? The moment the door shut behind Linda, I collapsed onto the couch, heart still racing. My mind spun with questions. Had she noticed? Was it just my paranoia? Or did she see the dress under my hoodie, the smudged tissue, the faint scent of Emma's perfume clinging to me like guilt? I took deep breaths, trying to calm myself. The adrenaline slowly faded, leaving behind a strange emotion. Not shame, not exactly. It was exhilaration. Something about Linda's visit had awakened a new layer of danger in my private world. I'd dressed up dozens of times in the past, always cautiously, always when I was sure no one would interrupt. But now someone had seen a glimpse of that side of me, and I wasn't destroyed. I was still standing. That night, I barely slept. My mind kept replaying the way Linda had looked at me, like she saw something I didn't even fully understand myself. The next morning, I was curled up with my laptop when a message popped up. "Linda, hope I didn't spook you yesterday. Want to grab coffee later?" I stared at the screen for a full minute. Was this a trap? A test? Or just coffee? I typed back cautiously. "Me. Sure. When and where?" Later that afternoon, we met at a small cafe near the park, somewhere neutral. Linda looked effortlessly glamorous in a white blouse, oversized sunglasses, and a flowing scarf. She always carried herself like a former model who never left the runway. She ordered a chai latte, then looked at me over the rim of her cup. "You seem distracted." I shrugged. "Just work stress." She smiled softly. "Ryan, you know I've known you since you were a baby, right?" I nodded slowly. "I also knew your mother very well. She told me things she never told anyone else." That made my stomach twist. "Like what?" She stirred her drink with delicate fingers. "Like how you used to sneak into her closet when you were little. She never told your father. She thought it was just a phase." My throat tightened. I looked down, my voice barely audible. "She told you that?" Linda nodded, not unkindly. "Ryan, I don't think it was a phase. I think it's something deeper. Something you've been afraid to face."
I didn't respond.
What could I say? Linda leaned in, lowering her voice. "Listen, I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to offer you something." I blinked. "Offer me what?" She smiled like she already knew I'd say yes.
"A day. Just one.
"At my place. Let me help you be the girl you've always been afraid to become. No judgment. No pressure. Just one day." My entire body tensed. I can't. Emma's away. You said so. No one will know. Just you and me. Like a little makeover day. A memory. I should have said no. I should have laughed, brushed it off, walked away. But instead I said, "Okay." Her place was more luxurious than I remembered. Elegant furnishings, satin pillows, long drapes, and the faint scent of vanilla in the air. Every detail screamed femininity and warmth. Linda led me to her guest room, which looked more like a boutique dressing suite. A makeup vanity, racks of clothes, even a full-length mirror with lights around the edges. She turned to me, her tone soft but firm. "Take your time. The bathroom's through that door. Undress, wash your face, and come out in this." She handed me a delicate silk robe. It was light pink, with lace along the edges. I held it like it might shatter in my hands. When I looked at her, she only smiled. "It suits you. You'll see." I walked into the bathroom, closed the door, and stared at myself in the mirror. My reflection looked pale, nervous, male. But the robe in my hands told another story. I slowly stripped down, folded my clothes, and stepped into the robe. The silk clung to me, sliding across my skin with a softness that sent shivers up my spine. For a second, I forgot to breathe. I opened the door and stepped out. Linda clapped her hands softly. Perfect.
Sit.
I sat down at the vanity, feeling more exposed than I ever had. Linda pulled up beside me with brushes, palettes, and a focus that reminded me of a sculptor preparing marble. Close your eyes, she whispered. The first brush of foundation made me flinch. But then came the blush, soft and warm. The eyeshadow, cool lavender with a hint of shimmer. Mascara darkened my lashes, and a soft mauve lipstick brought everything together. There, she said. Look. I opened my eyes and gasped. The person staring back at me wasn't Ryan. She had Ryan's eyes, yes, but they looked bigger now.
Softer.
Her lips were delicate, her cheekbones more defined. The robe framed her in gentle curves. She looked beautiful. Linda placed a hand on my shoulder. She's always been there. You've just been afraid to meet her. I turned away, overwhelmed. I don't know if I can do this. You already are, Linda said, brushing a stray hair from my forehead. Then came the clothes. Linda opened a wardrobe and pulled out a soft pastel dress with thin straps and a flowing skirt. It wasn't too bold. It was perfect. Try it. My hands trembled as I took it. In the privacy of the guest room, I slid it on over the robe. It fit snugly around the waist, flaring out just above my knees. When I stepped out, Linda's eyes lit up. She added earrings, a bracelet, a light spritz of perfume, and a short bobbed wig in a deep brown that matched my natural color, styled just right. The final touch, a pair of nude heels. I hesitated. Linda crouched beside me. It's okay. Just one step at a time. The shoes slipped on like magic. I stood, wobbly, uncertain, and then took a breath. I walked to the mirror and froze. The girl in the mirror looked shy, beautiful, and vulnerable. But more than anything, she looked happy. Then buzz. My phone vibrated on the nightstand. I snatched it up.
Emma.
A message. Hey babe. Retreat ended early. Coming home tonight instead of Sunday. Hope you're not too bored. My blood ran cold. Linda read the panic on my face instantly. What's wrong? I turned to her, breath hitching. Emma's coming home. Tonight. The tension in the room thickened. All that warmth, all that safety, it vanished in a second. But Linda didn't panic. Instead, she said, then let's make this count. One last evening. No fear. Just you. I looked at myself in the mirror one more time. The girl staring back at me wasn't ready to disappear. Not yet. I should have ripped the dress off the moment I read Emma's text. I should have wiped off the makeup, yanked off the wig, and gone back to being safe, boring Ryan. But I didn't. I couldn't. There was something electric about the way the heels clicked on the hardwood floor. Something magical about the way the skirt swayed around my thighs. It was more than just clothes, it was freedom, wrapped in lace and powder. Linda was watching me carefully. You still have a few hours, she said gently. If you want to stay like this, I won't stop you. I bit my lip. But what if I can't go back after this? She walked up behind me, resting her hands lightly on my shoulders. Maybe the problem isn't going back. Maybe the problem is that you were never really going forward. I looked at the reflection of the two of us in the mirror. Linda standing like a calm, elegant mentor behind me. And me, her, a girl who didn't have a name yet but finally had a face. I whispered, do I look like a real girl? Linda smiled. You look like you. And that's more real than anything. As we sat in the living room, sipping tea like two girlfriends catching up, Linda finally asked, do you have a name? I blinked. For her? She nodded. I'd never thought about it seriously. I always referred to this side of me as just the other me. A fantasy. A secret. But now, sitting in a real home, in real clothes with real makeup, she deserved a name. Rachel, I whispered. I don't know why. It just feels right. Linda nodded. Rachel.
Pretty.
It suits you. The way she said it, soft and sure, sent shivers down my spine. It was like hearing my real name for the first time. I smiled. Not the shy, embarrassed one I gave people when they asked about my weekend plans. No, this was a real smile. Rachel's smile. Linda rose from the couch and walked to a cabinet near her bookshelf. She pulled out a camera. My stomach twisted.
No.
No photos, please, I said quickly. She paused. It's just for you. I'll send it to your phone. And delete it from mine, I promise. I hesitated. And then I posed. Just one photo. Me. Standing by the window, the sun kissing my shoulders, the hem of my dress fluttering in the breeze. My hands shyly at my sides. A soft smile on my face. Linda clicked the picture and said, "You'll want to remember this." And part of me knew she was right. She airdropped the photo to me. I looked at it. Rachel stared back at me, delicate, radiant, fragile. And then another buzz. Emma. Traffic's clear. Should be home in 2 hours, want me to pick up food. 2 hours. Less than 120 minutes to become someone else again. The thought made my stomach twist, but not from fear. From regret. Linda glanced at my phone. Your time's almost up. I nodded slowly, eyes fixed on the image still glowing on the screen. I don't want this to end, I said. But I don't want to lose Emma either. Linda didn't flinch. You can't be someone you're not just to keep someone else. And you shouldn't have to choose between love and identity. I looked at her. Would you tell her? She shook her head. That's not my place. But I think you need to ask yourself, are you living or just hiding better than most? Silence settled between us. Then she stood. Let me show you one more thing. She took me into her walk-in closet and pulled out a long, cream-colored gown, something elegant, soft, timeless. I wore this when I was your age, she said. I want you to try it. Just once. Then you can change back, and this night can become whatever memory you want it to be. I hesitated. Why this dress? Because this one made me feel like a woman for the first time, she said simply. I think it might do the same for you. I changed slowly, reverently. The fabric was whisper-soft, delicate, like wearing history itself. Linda zipped it up for me, adjusted the straps, and added a pair of pearl earrings. When I turned to the mirror, I didn't recognize the girl staring back. Not because she was a stranger, but because she was finally complete. I whispered, "She's beautiful." Linda said nothing. She just smiled. And that's when we heard the knock. We both froze. Another knock, this time louder. Ryan? Are you home? It's me, Emma. I nearly fainted. I kicked off the heels, scrambled into the guest room, and shut the door behind me. My hands were shaking as I yanked the dress off, struggling with the zipper. The pearl earrings clattered to the floor. I grabbed a towel, wiped off the lipstick, and pulled the wig from my scalp. But the makeup was stubborn. The eyeshadow clung to my lids. My cheeks were still flushed pink. I threw on my hoodie and jeans, trying to look normal, whatever that meant anymore. From the hallway, I heard Linda answer the door. Oh, Emma, right? Ryan mentioned you. Emma's voice was curious, but polite.
Hi, yes.
Sorry, I didn't know anyone was here. I was just visiting an old friend. Dropped something off. He's in the shower, I believe. Oh, okay. No problem. Linda walked past the guest room, winked at the door, then let herself out. I waited until I heard the front door close again before emerging, my heart still hammering. Emma looked at me from the kitchen. You okay? You look flushed. I forced a smile. Hot shower. She came over and kissed my cheek. You smell nice, like vanilla and lavender. I froze, but she didn't say anything else. That night, Emma curled up on the couch beside me, resting her head on my shoulder. The lights were dim. The TV murmured in the background. Her fingers lazily traced circles on my chest through my sweatshirt. You okay? She murmured. You feel tense. I forced a chuckle. Just tired. She looked up at me, those sharp blue eyes studying my face. Did you do anything fun while I was gone? I froze. Just one beat too long. Then I smiled. Just work. Slept in a little. Order takeout. Emma smiled, satisfied for now. But I could feel something in her shift. The seed of suspicion was planted, and I was already cracking. The next morning, I sat in the bathroom staring at myself. Even freshly showered, with no trace of lipstick or eyeshadow, I couldn't shake the feeling that Rachel was still staring back at me from behind my eyes. It was like something had been set free, and she didn't want to go back into hiding. I opened my phone. I shouldn't have, but I did. There she was, Rachel, glowing on the screen. The photo Linda took. Soft dress, gentle curls, an expression of peace I'd never seen on myself before. I meant to delete it, but I couldn't. Instead, I set it as my private lock screen. Then I closed the app, stepped out, and returned to the world of Ryan. Underscore 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 underscore. Emma's suspicion grows. Over the next few days, Emma started acting strange. Not angry, not accusatory, just watchful. She'd glance at me longer than usual, ask what I was doing on my phone, sniff the air like she was trying to place a scent. One night, while folding laundry, she pulled out a pair of panties that weren't hers. "These aren't mine," she said casually, holding them up. My heart stopped. They were from Linda's drawer, borrowed by mistake, tucked into the wrong bag. I swallowed.
Oh.
Maybe they're from an old load? Before we moved. She didn't press it, but I saw it in her face. She didn't believe me. It all came to a head the following Friday. Emma called me into the living room. She had her laptop open. "Hey babe," she said, trying to sound normal. "Can you help me with something? My Gmail's being weird." I leaned over her shoulder, and my stomach fell into my shoes. On the screen was the photo of Rachel. My photo. My face. The one from Linda's house. She clicked the image. I gasped. How did you get that?" She turned to me, her expression unreadable. "I don't know. It was in my spam folder. Someone emailed it to me from a temporary address. No message. Just this." My heart pounded in my chest. It's photoshopped." Emma didn't answer right away. She just stared at me. Then she asked very softly, "Is this you?" I couldn't breathe. The room spun. The truth teetered on the edge of my tongue.
Lie. Deny. Run.
But instead I whispered, "Yes." Emma stood, folding her arms. "So, how long has this been going on?" I sat down. "Since I was a teenager. It's not like I want to be a girl all the time. I feel right when I'm her. When I'm Rachel." Emma's eyes softened just slightly. "Rachel." I nodded. She sat across from me, silent for a long time. Then she asked the question I'd been dreading. "Why didn't you tell me?" I looked down at my hands. "Because I thought you'd leave. Or laugh. Or not love me anymore." She blinked hard, like she was trying to process the storm in her mind. "So when I was gone, you dressed up. With Linda." I hesitated. She helped me. She didn't force me. She saw me, Emma. And for the first time, I saw me too. Emma stood, her expression now a blur of emotions. Hurt, confusion, maybe even betrayal. "I need space." And just like that, she walked out. I didn't sleep that night. I paced the apartment, unable to sit still. I looked at myself in the mirror over and over, trying to figure out if I looked like someone worth staying for. Rachel's face had brought me peace. But now she was the reason everything was falling apart. I opened the closet, pulled out the dress from Linda's bag, and stared at it. I wanted to burn it, or hold it close. I didn't know which. I sat on the floor, clutching the fabric to my chest.
And cried.
Hours later, I stood in the hallway mirror again, dressed halfway in Rachel's outfit, makeup half done, wig loose on my head. I stared. Then I slammed my fist into the mirror. It cracked across the center, splintering my reflection in 1,000 jagged shards. And there, in the broken pieces, I saw two people.
Ryan.
Rachel. One trying to hold on to control, the other begging to be free. A knock at the door. Not Emma. Linda. She looked at me, disheveled, red-eyed, cracked mirror behind me, and didn't say a word. She walked in and wrapped her arms around me. She knows, I whispered. Linda held me tighter. Good. I pulled back, confused. Good. She nodded. Because hiding who you are will always break you. Now you can start over. I looked at her, desperate. But I've lost her. She shook her head. Maybe. Or maybe she needs time. But either way, you've found you. The next morning I got dressed slowly. Not in jeans. Not in sweats. In Rachel's dress. I applied my makeup with care. Fixed the wig. Slipped on the heels. And then I left. I walked to the cafe near the park. Our usual spot. Emma was already there. She looked up. Her face didn't change. Not at first. I sat across from her. Silence. Then she asked, "Is this who you really are?" I nodded. Not all the time. But this part of me is real. And I'm tired of pretending she's not. She stirred her coffee slowly. Then, softly, "You're beautiful." Tears stung my eyes. That's the first time I've ever heard that and believed it. I thought this was the end of the story. But that night, Emma said something I never expected. "I want to get to know Rachel." I blinked. "You do?" She smiled. "I don't know what this means for us. But I know I don't want to lose you, any version of you. Let's figure this out. Together." 2 weeks later, everything had changed, and yet nothing felt stable. Emma and I were still together, but the dynamic was different now. There were long talks at night. Questions she hadn't dared ask before. Awkward silences. Careful words. But there were also moments of curiosity. Laughter. Even warmth. Sometimes she'd call me Rachel, just to see my reaction. Other times she'd ask if I wanted to put on something cute before we went for a drive. It was like we were dancing on the edge of something fragile and beautiful, and I still didn't know if it would break. One quiet Sunday morning, as I sat on the couch scrolling through my phone, my Rachel photo still safely hidden on my lock screen, Emma walked in with an envelope in her hand. She handed it to me with a strange smile. "What's this?" I asked. "Open it." Inside was a glossy invitation. Elegant. Pink foil lettering. Ladies' Spring Charity Brunch. Women's Empowerment Society. Invited guest, Rachel Simmons. My breath caught. You sign me up?" I whispered. Emma sat beside me. I think she deserves to be seen. Not just in hiding. Not just in mirrors. In sunlight. Among people. I looked up, blinking away tears. But what if someone recognizes me? What if someone laughs? Emma tilted her head. Then we walk out together. Heads high. I smiled. Rachel was going out. For real this time. Later that evening, I decided to visit Linda. I wanted to thank her for everything, for pushing me to accept what I'd buried for so long. She greeted me in a robe, her face bare, her hair tied loosely behind her head. We sat on her balcony, the wind playing with the leaves around us. "You're glowing," she said, sipping her tea. I laughed. "I'm terrified." She smirked. "Good. Fear means you're on the edge of something real." Then she grew quiet. "There's something you should know," she added. I tensed. "What?" She stood, walked to a drawer, and returned with a small envelope, sealed with red wax.
She handed it to me.
"It's from your mother. She gave it to me years ago, said to give it to you only if you ever found your truth." I stared at the envelope, my hands trembling. "What does it say?" I whispered. Linda shook her head. "I didn't open it. It's for you." Back at home, alone in the quiet hum of the apartment, I lit a candle and sat at the table. The wax seal cracked easily. Inside was a single page, written in my mother's elegant script. "My dearest child, if you're reading this, then I know you've found the courage to become who you were always meant to be. I saw you. All those times you borrowed my dresses. All those nights you sat in front of the mirror, wondering if you were wrong for feeling the way you did. You weren't. You aren't. You are beautiful. And I love every part of you. Always. Be who you are. Be free. And never, ever be ashamed. Mom. Tears spilled down my cheeks. All this time, I'd thought I was hiding from the world. But maybe my mother had been protecting me, even after she was gone. The day of the charity brunch arrived. I stood before the mirror, once again in a soft dress, light floral print this time, simple makeup, short heels. Rachel looked back at me, nervous, but ready. Emma stood beside me, fixing her earring. You okay? I nodded slowly. I think I've never been more okay. Then, just as we were about to walk out the door,
BZZZT.
a new message lit up my phone. Unknown number. No name. No avatar. Just one line. If you don't stop pretending to be something you're not, everyone will know. I stared at the screen, my breath catching in my throat. Emma saw my face. What is it? I handed her the phone. She read it. Her eyes narrowed. Someone's watching you, she said coldly. I swallowed. What do I do? She looked me dead in the eyes. We show them, Rachel. The real one. And we don't hide again.